Good morning. This is the third video in the geometric colored pencil drawing. And so far in the last video, you really should about have your project drawn out like this. All four of the sides could be radial, or they at least need to be symmetrical, meaning that if I chop this project in half, this side and this side are mirror images. That is symmetrical. So make sure before you commit to any sort of permanent color, like colored pencil or Sharpie, that you know that it is symmetrical. I can always check it if you're unsure. You could take a picture of it, email it to me, hallkr@foxc6.org. That doesn't mean you're turning it in. It just means you have a question about it. Okay. So what we are going to be doing today is we're going to be doing the planning on our worksheet. So if you have it in your notebook, you'll get out your notebook. If you have the actual worksheet, you're going to get that out. So I always suggest people figure out their colors before they actually get to the project. And the reason that I'm suggesting that is because once it's colored on your project, if you miss one of the requirements, there's nothing I can do to really erase colored pencil. It's decently permanent. Sometimes you can erase it, but it stains. All right, so let's flip back to what the actual coloring requirements are for this project so that you don't miss those. All right, so here's my requirements for the colored pencil drawing. So it says create two different analogous color blends in two separate areas. For example, red-purple would count as one blend, and blue-purple would count as the second blend. I have to see evidence that you can actually blend them together and they are not just next to each other on your paper. So let's go back to what analogous truly means. And some of you are like, oh, I don't know what that means. What am I doing? Okay, we did a worksheet, a prep worksheet on purpose for this exact issue. So right here, this analogous colors up here, okay, colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So here's my handy dandy color wheel. You can also look up color wheels online. Any two colors that are next to each other are fine. So if you have this color wheel has the primary colors, blue, yellow, and red. The secondary colors, green, orange, and purple. And then also what you call the intermediate colors, which is blue-green, yellow-orange, red-violet, blue-violet. So when we're talking analogous, you could either do like red and orange. I know they skip the intermediate color, or you could do like red and red-orange. So I'm okay either way. If you just want to use the primary and secondary colors, or if you want to use primary, secondary, and intermediate, the whole thing, that's fine too. All of these blends that we did on here are fair game. If you come up with another one that you want to do, as long as it's analogous, it's on the color wheel, it's fine. You can always email me if you're unsure. All right, so I could use technically any of these drawing techniques that I wanted to on my project. Honestly, I'm a fan of like smooth blending. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with smooth blending. So I'm going to pick, it says two different, let me just double check so I make sure I tell you exactly correct. Let's see, two different analogous color blends in two separate areas. So on mine, here it is. I did purple and red, and I faded them and mixed them in the middle. And then I did green, blue, and blue, or blue-green, however you want to look at that. All right, so let's see on my planning worksheet. I love aqua. Aqua is basically blue-green, so if you want to use that, that's fine. And then maybe I'll just use this other green. So green and blue-green are next to each other on the color wheel. So this is the one I picked. I don't have to do shading. Shading means dark to light, so you can just mix these if you want to, but if you want to do shading on here, that's fine. But remember, I have to see two different analogous color blends. So what I do is I usually bring the color up a little bit further, and I'll take the next color, and you have to overlap it. Okay, I have to see evidence that you can blend the colored pencil. That's the point. So we're practicing blending, we're practicing different techniques. Okay, so right now I've fulfilled the requirement of one area that has an analogous color blend. I think I'm going to put the other one maybe in here. I like this kind of cool colors. So I'm going to do, maybe I'll do a regular blue since I used blue-green the last time, and then do like a purple. Let's see. These are both really dark, so I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but we'll see. Okay, so this is like an indigo blue. It's all right. It's good enough. It's regular blue. All right, so I'm going to do a dark delight with this one just because I feel like it. You don't have to, again, but you have to have two sets of analogous colors. Now, this color scheme is going to go in all four of my quadrants that I have. This is only a quarter of the project that's on my paper right here. So I'm going to do like a outline, kind of like on the first technique worksheet we did. And I could have done like cross-hatching or hatching or things like that to blend it. This is just what I wanted. All right, so I'm going to blend in the purple because purple and blue are next to each other on the color wheel. Also, if for whatever reason you don't have colored pencils and your parents cannot afford to buy you colored pencils, you're going to need to contact me so that I can get something set up with the school and you can pick up some colored pencils. So the document camera is not picking up, but that is purple in the middle and it is a blend. It's just for whatever reason, it's not picking it up. So this would count as my two colors. All right, let's go to the next. All right, create two different complementary color blends in two separate areas. For example, orange darkened with blue and yellow darkened with purple. See the colored pencil worksheet for more specific examples. So I have that worksheet out, and you should have that worksheet out too, because that's why I had to do it. Okay, this one is a little bit more difficult to get it to blend. So I'm going to look and see what colors maybe would look good. So I've already got these cool colors out here. I think I'm going to do the red and the green to start out with, and then I'll see where I want to go from there, because sometimes you don't know where this is going. So I'm going to do the green, and I think I am going to do like dark delight with the green first right here. And it could be anywhere in the square. This is just what I'm doing. Okay, so that is actually green. Okay, then I'm going to take my red and I'm going to mix some red, dark delight, so that it has sort of this darkening effect. Now, on this document camera, because the color doesn't show up, super great, this looks like grayish, but I promise you this is green with red on top. Okay, let me see if I did that on my example on the computer. You can see it right here. I did orange and blue together, and here I did, let me see what I did for real. I think it was a blue, and I think that was blue and orange again, and I flipped it. Okay, so I've got the green and the red there. And I need to do another one. So I was working mostly with cool colors, so I'm going to attempt to do blue and orange. I know orange is not a cool color, but blue is. So we'll see how this turns out because, well, life is an experiment. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to do the blue. I'm going to do dark down here. This is a similar color, so we'll see how this goes. And I'm going to fade it out to light. Because remember, you have to have two areas, two different blends. So that means different colors. It can't just be like I did the green and red multiple times. You have to experiment with two of the different color combinations. Now, after I get the requirements done, whatever you want to add after that is up to you. You just have to meet the basic color requirements that I asked. So here's the blue. I'm going to go in with this orange. We're going to see how it works. Didn't look too bad. This kind of reminds me of the moon. Remember, you're supposed to be listening to your album or your music artist the whole time you're doing this. All right, so I've got this one section. Actually, this kind of looks like Earth and then outer space, and then maybe this is another planet colliding with Earth. I don't know. All right, so I would finish doing this right here, and then this would be my set color scheme. There's a question as to if you should Sharpie this or not. So here's my suggestion. I do like Sharpie, but you may not want to Sharpie this project just based on how it looks. I would not Sharpie this right off the bat. I would do this in colored pencil, just plain. See how it looks. Then, if you're like, you know what? I don't know if I like how this looks. Go through with a Sharpie, outline it on this paper. Don't outline it on your drawing paper, because you may not like how it looks. Just because you outline one or two things in Sharpie doesn't mean you have to outline everything. So keep that in mind also. Sharpieing this project is not a requirement, but remember, you want to be able to show contrast. So if it looks like it needs to be Sharpied, you should do it. If you don't have a Sharpie at home, obviously you're not going to Sharpie it. So this gets you started on the planning process of what you're going to do with your color scheme. After you are finished with this, I will show you what to do on the next video, but planning is critical. If you are unsure, please email me. Thanks, guys.